All right, this is section 3.7. It is going over the chain rule. The first problem is a GeoGebra, which will want us to pick our function. So we're going to pick two different functions, and we're going to find the derivative using the chain rule. It doesn't really matter which one we use. I'll try to do something that would possibly be challenging. Maybe, let's try this. Okay, so let's talk about the chain rule. I'm just jumping into it. Hopefully you guys read through the textbook and you can kind of pick up the things. The chain rule is we have two functions of x. So we have maybe like an f, and then inside of that we have another function of x. So whenever I do the derivative, okay, if I do the derivative of this d dx, okay, that's going to be equal to the derivative of the outer function. So we're going to do the derivative of f, and then you're going to leave the inside as is, and then times the derivative of the inside. So this is just the notation wise, okay? So this is asking me to find h prime of x. So they're saying let hx be f g of x, okay? So I'm going to start out with h of x. Now the functions that I've picked f of x to be 2 times e to the x. Now in the place of x, I'm going to be plugging in another function, which is 5 times the square root of x. You can pick any function you want, okay? You can make it as easy or as challenging as you want, but the whole goal is to find the derivative. So h prime of x is going to be, so the 2 is just going to be a constant, just the 2 out front. The derivative of e to the x is just e to the x, or whatever we have. So it's still going to be e to the 5 square roots of x. Now this is the outside. Now the inside function is going to be this. So the derivative of this, now we're going to multiply times this derivative. So think about 5 square roots of x as 5x to the 1/2 power. Using the power rule, we're going to multiply by 1/2. So we'll have 1/2 times the 5, and then we'll have x, and you'll subtract 1. So subtract 1 from 1/2 will give me a negative 1/2 power. So multiplying this, I'll have a 1/2 times the 5x to the negative 1/2 power. Now I can go back and write this as a square root, move it down, but the part I'm going to simplify is multiplying 2.5. That's just going to give you a 1, and so we'll have an e to the 5 square roots of x. This 5 I can multiply out front. This x will be under a square root, and then I can move it back to the bottom, or I can just leave it as is. So you can write it like this, square root of x, or if you didn't want to do that, you can just write it as 5e 5 square roots of x, and then you still have the x raised to the negative 1/2 power. Either one is fine. This we don't like. We like to rationalize the denominator and change it a little bit more, but either one of these will be fine for now, just going through the chain rule. They want you to understand you have two functions of x, derivative of the outside function first, leave that alone, and then times the derivative of the inner function. Write it like that.